lost track of time. Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see your faces. And here's Chrissy.
Thank you, John. I actually was really like zenning out to that.
Yeah,
Thank you, John, for beautiful opening music.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, thank you, everybody, for showing up, and for those joining us live stream. We welcome everybody here, and Sandy's on vacation today, so you're going to hear a little bit more about what's happening today. But I would, whoops, got to flip my page. I want to share with you our mission statement. We are a heart-centered, multi-generational, and diverse spiritual community dedicated to teaching and practicing a positive life approach in our spiritual journey. And our vision is a world united in loving acceptance, celebrating inclusivity, harmony, prosperity, and awakened consciousness. And please join me in a moment of opening prayer. Oh, sweet Spirit, we are ever grateful to gather here together today in unity, in love, knowing that you are surrounding us with all of your love and healing and wholeness to help us as we journey through life. We lean on you, sweet Spirit. We lean on this community that we have gathered together here and in live stream. Your protection is with us always, and we are ever grateful. Thank you for this time of fellowship and of worship. In your name, amen. And I'm going to bring forth the, forgot to light the Christ candle. I'm supposed to do that. I'm rusty. Lighting the Christ candle signifies the Christ within all of us as oneness. So thank you. And I'm going to have Patty bring forth the prayer box. And then we're going to say a little, we have, this is Summer Sunday, so we have no children's church, but we are all children of God. So we're going to do a children's blessing for ourselves. So rub your hands together. I see the light of God in you.
I see the light of God in you.
Shining forth always.
Shining forth always.
Amen. Back to John.
So this is for the 12 powers. We're only gonna address 6 of them today, so just ignore half of the song. Okay, let's see where this starts. All right, let's go. Love and wisdom, faith and power, they are mine, yes, they are mine. Strength and order, will and judgment, they are mine, I let them shine. Life and zeal, imagination, they are mine, yes, they are mine. Understanding and forgiveness, they are mine, I let them shine. All right, Kevin, hit it. Kevin's running the backing tracks today. All right, everybody. A little louder, please. Give me the power to have faith. Give me the power to have faith. Give me the power. Give me the power. Give me the power to have faith. Faith is the bridge between will and man. Faith is the bridge on which we stand. Faith can move mountains, it can heal a broken heart. Give me the power to have faith. Give me the power to have a faith. Give me the power to have a faith. Give me the power. Give me the power. Give me the power to have faith. Give me the power to have faith. I messed up. Give me the power to have faith. Sorry, I messed that up a little bit. Hi, Paige. Are you back or visiting? All right, nice to see you.
John, we don't need to go to Elkhart Jazz Festival. We have you right here. Right? Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I'm going to have Brandy come up and read our daily word, and then Terry Peters is going to lead us in meditation. Brandy.
Okay, today's word is joy. I am blessed with indwelling joy. In John's Gospel, Jesus prays his disciples and all who receive their message will experience for themselves the joy he knows. I share in Jesus' joy as I remember I am a living expression of the divine, created in God's image and likeness, just as Jesus was. My ability to express love, life, wisdom, and all other qualities of God is limited only by my willingness to live from my spiritual nature. I am one with God and one in the allness of God with all people everywhere. The joy Jesus described remains with me no matter what is happening around me. I know wholeness in the midst of illness, abundance amid the appearance of lack, even sadness in the aftermath of loss cannot overtake my joy. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. John 15:11.
It's now time to enter into those moments of prayer and meditation. So I invite you to relax in your seats, become comfortable, and join me in taking a deep breath, a relaxing breath that infuses every fiber of your being with that sense of wholeness and worth, that light, that love, that peace, which is our birthright. And take another deep breath again, so as we go deeper into that sense of relaxation. And I will use the singing bowl to invite us to align ourselves with that heart center, the heart chakra, where our vibrations of our hearts are one with the great heart of divine spirit. And as we enter this time of prayer and meditation, let us send our loving thoughts to all those names who are here in our prayer box, knowing that Spirit, that divine consciousness around us and in us, knows these needs, these requests, these hopes, and this faith. And so we send that loving energy to all of them. And as we do, I invite you to speak aloud the names of others who are in your hearts and who you want to send love, prayer, and divine energy to at this time. And so we send that focus, that love, that caring, that compassion that is our divine birthright to all those who need to recall and remember that it is their birthright as well. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We forget that when we enter this plane of existence, this three-dimensional world. And we are programmed to believe in this three-dimensional world. In a world composed of scarcity, lack, limitation. And so as we grow in consciousness, as we mature in awareness, we feel the divine presence grow in us, and we remember who we truly are. We are divine beings of power and composed of light, the energy of love, and we bring that with us wherever we go and project it to all around us. And each moment of each day, we take time to recall ourselves to that higher state of awareness and remind us that there is no lack or limitation that we face. And so we move further and further into that state of higher consciousness, where we are all powerful beings, that we forgive ourselves for those false beliefs. We let them go, and we let go of all judgment of ourselves, of others around us, of circumstances and events in this three-dimensional world, knowing that we came here by choice, with purpose, to raise that level of consciousness for the entire planet. And we do it by raising that consciousness for ourselves. And so relax into that thought. Feel that higher consciousness and awareness settle into every fiber of your being. With this consciousness comes peace. We need no longer strive or struggle. As that consciousness expands, as our energy level increases with source energy that is divine, and we raise that vibration into a higher level of awareness, we sense the power through love that comes to us. And we give that power to all around us, for there is no end to it. There is no limit to it. And there is a peace in that awareness that we are here serving that divine being of which we are one, and with which we remain united in all things. And this certainty travels with us, deep within our very being, no matter where we travel, no matter whom we see and speak to, no matter what we do in our daily life. We are one with divine consciousness. And in that love, we breathe and move and have our being. And so it is, and so we remain. One with Spirit, one with God. Amen.
Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Help me to make it through. Lead me into the light. Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Help me to make it through. Lead me into the light. This is a new thing we're doing. Kevin's running the backing track, so it helps me from getting that fourth ball in the air that I'm juggling, and hopefully play a little better. You ready? Okay. This is kind of a fun song I wrote for a simple little statement of what this is all for. So here we go. Well, when I get down sometimes and I need to replenish my style. When I get down sometimes and I need to replenish my style. I come to church on Sunday where the love flows and never stops. Well, now all my friends and family are thinking about a better way. All my friends and family are thinking about a better way. Spreading love and kindness to grow into a bright new day. My path towards freedom, accepting people as they come. Each person that I meet, brothers, sisters, everyone. And if we disagree, I vow to understand. Cause love and understanding will make me a better man. Well, and I down sometimes I need to replenish my style. When I get down sometimes I need to replenish my style. I come to church on Sunday where the love flows and never stops. When I get down sometimes and I need to replenish my style. No, that's the wrong part. I said yes, 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 yes. I said yes, yes. I said yes, my Lord. Now everybody follow me. It's love, 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 love. I said love, love, love. I said love, love. I said love, love, love. I said love, 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 my Lord. Now I said unity now. 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 Well, I said unity right now. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, here's the deal. For those of you on live stream and for those of you here, there is a very famous thing going on right now. It's called the Elkhart Jazz Festival. We don't need no jazz festival. We have John. Woo! Thank you, John. That was amazing. That was amazing. Okay, so I'm excited today to announce that it's part 2. Several months ago, the Board of Trustees took care of the message for the service, and we decided to do the 12 powers. Well, there's 12 of them, and there's only 5 of us. So today, we're doing 5 more, and we've each selected a power that speaks to us, and we're each going to give a little mini talk about that power. So today, we are going to hear from Sue Ellen first, and she's going to speak about faith. And then I'm going to speak about strength, and Tim is going to speak about wisdom, and Colleen is going to speak about will, and Tamara will be joining us via audio video, and she's going to speak about order. So I'm going to turn it over to Sue Ellen to start us out with faith.
You might want to hold your applause until you see how I do. Except maybe that's faith, huh? John, I've always thought you were hot. You know that. I can say that because my husband's right here, so he knows how I mean it. But you were on fire today. On fire. Wow. Yes, yes. Not to mention, though, that he practically stole half my thunder by that wonderful song on faith. But, you know, I can still find a couple things to say. There's a wonderful book I'm beginning to appreciate the 12 powers the longer I'm kind of around. And this is a book, The 12 Powers in You, that's totally wonderful if you ever get so inclined to pursue them more. But I am going to be talking to you about faith today. And as I thought about this, I thought about the ways that my conceptualization of faith has changed since that of my childhood. Well, I'm 72. A lot of things we hope have changed, but I was thinking back, I grew up in the Church of the Brethren, which some of you know, and I've incorporated that path to go on to other ways. But when I talk about how I changed or was impacted by those early days, I really am glad that I had that faith community and that foundation in faith. So when I compare myself to then and now, I certainly mean no disparagement of what that was then. I'm happy to have had that in my life. But that being said, when I was growing up in the Church of the Brethren, my ideas were a lot more traditional. For one thing, I was a kid, and for another thing, the Church of the Brethren was more traditional. And then the second way I'm going to talk about faith is how I've come to understand it now through my study in unity and other philosophies that are similar. Now, one of these isn't better than the other. I think about as a kid, I used to watch Let's Make a Deal, and they had door number 1 and door number 2 and door number 3, and you could choose. Now, even the thought today that I could choose a door is different from how I would have thought about this in the past, because I guess I always thought that faith just dropped upon a person from God, and it wasn't really a choiceful matter. You kind of took what you got, and you got lucky maybe if you chose the best door. So when I was thinking about faith today, I started by Googling faith to see how they described it, and it said, faith is a belief in the doctrines of a religion, a firm belief even in the absence of proof, a conviction of things not seen. So I just felt like that faith came from God, and you had faith in God, and you either kind of had it or you didn't. And quite frankly, I never really felt like I had it, because it seemed like it was a burning bush kind of thing, it was really pretty dramatic, and I was kind of like, Then I came upon another definition of faith from a website called Israel U, as in university, not you, but israelu.org. And it says that faith is a catalyst for living life, to take firm action. And then I also happened to come upon a teacher this week who was talking, her name's Sarah Landon, and she was talking about taking the next steps as they come along. And she said that faith could be considered to be like a staircase of 10,000 steps. And she said, you can get there with 10,000 steps. It can, well, for one thing, I thought it could sure burn a lot of calories, but, it could take a lot of effort and energy, but you may well get there with time. But, every time you're starting on something new, you've got to run up those steps. And then she contrasted that with taking the next step as it appears under our foot. And she says that, well, first I need to say that whole 10,000 step thing rang a bell with me, because I feel like most of things I've done in my life have been through creating a lot of effort. And she calls this efforting. So she made a new verb there, efforting. And I'm going to make a new verb a little later, which I'll tell you in case you don't notice when I do it. But she said, when I thought about how we exert effort to accomplish things, it's kind of like scouring, rust out of an old sink. It takes a lot of elbow grease to do it. But if we believe in the next step, or the perfect step, she said that is a result of your conscious vibration. You don't have to put that out there. It just, who you are speaks louder than what you could say. It's just who you are as a person, who you are as a consciousness. I was remembering the film Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And I had to get Terry to refresh me about the ending, the reason why he was running so fast to get to the Holy Grail. And Terry reminded me that the Holy Grail had healing powers that he needed. So, but I remember he runs up to this chasm, and what happens? Anybody remember? Anybody old enough? Oh, sure, y'all are. What happens when he ran up to that chasm? Somebody?
Where he has to like walk across the thing.
That's what he had to do next. First of all, he ran up there and there wasn't anything there. It was just a chasm. And he did, so what did he have to do? He had to step his foot out in faith. And then, when the bridge appears, yes, he did. You're totally right. But Sarah Landon says that what comes to you when you are in the next step model is usually so much better, so much more unexpected, and so much more than you would have thought from your little you, you know? I'm sure that when Indiana Jones saw that bridge, he might have thought, wow, I never thought of this, but you know, there it was. So I'm going to turn for a minute to Charles Fillmore, who is one of our co-founders, as a lot of you know. And he defined faith as the perceiving power of mind. And then he said, we all have faith. And I'm like, you know. But here's where I'm going to do that new verb. Faithing. Faith with an ing. Faithing. Because if it's the perceiving power of mind, we perceive all the time, right? Oh, I'm going to be late. Oh, people will fall asleep when I'm talking. Oh, I'll forget my notes, you know. Dog will probably bite the mailman. That's faith. That's just as much faith as in, you know, something good will happen to me today. Because faith is just how we use our mind. So for one thing, look how that puts the power back into us rather than into God up there. So we are faithing all the time. You know, but still, when I was a kid, I always perceived that faith would be a miraculous, good, and wonderful thing that God would do to me, or for me, maybe both. But I expected it to be pretty miraculous and noticeable. And, you know, in the olden days, we used to talk about the view of God as a divine bellhop. And I'm going to update that in a minute, because what do we ever see of bellhops these days? At least I don't travel in the class of hotels that has bellhops. Maybe some do. But it's somebody that would deliver something right to you upon request. And so the idea to me, I updated that to the Amazon Prime delivery man. Because, you know, those people are so amazing. You can be punching on your phone in the middle of the night and it's there the next day. I mean, honest to gosh, you know. So let's just update that idea about God as a divine Amazon delivery man, except not, because I'm going to tell you a different way. It did occur to me when I was thinking about this that the question came to me, faith in what? You know, I always assumed faith in God when I was younger, but now that seems like kind of a vague, hard to put your hands on kind of concept. And so if we move beyond the word faith in God, we could think of, I suggest we think of faith in my Christ nature within me, faith in the I am, the Buddha nature, or the spirit within. You know, we all have different words, and that's okay, that we know what we mean. But Sarah Landon again says, we are the expression of the creative life force. And she makes a bold claim that we are good because we are of God. So we can just start. Yes, do we do dumb stuff and all that? Yes, but we can just start with the assumption that we are good. And so then I thought, well, how do we ask? Again, in the old model, we kind of pleaded, we bargained, we said we'd turn Catholic, we said we'd stop swearing, a lot of those things, if only God would do whatever. But that, again, is the old model. As I considered these words from this book, The 12 Powers in You, I was reminded that we ask by our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our actions and reactions, our behaviors. And then as I was driving here this morning, I actually thought about how Jesus said, pray without ceasing. Because I thought, as a kid, how could you go around all the time like this, But then I realized that if you are immersed in building up your consciousness in the ways I just talked about, then you are faithing. You're faithing without ceasing. You're carrying your faith and you're expressing it by all those things I just mentioned. So let me share a quote from this book. How do we then ask? Do we plead, bargain, make formal petitions? Do we use the right religious language? Do we pray using the correct names for God and the right formulas to please God? What understanding can we have of the asking process that is based instead on bringing our thoughts into harmony with the energy flow that is God's will of absolute good for us all? So, let's look at how often we use the word ask, and we'll see how we put ourselves into position to touch into the divine presence of God. Are we asking as if God is outside of us, or are we asking from our power and centeredness in God? So, as these authors say, now we see, perceive, and have faith in God, not as a supplicant to a magistrate, but as a receptive soul, becoming more conscious of the marvelous powers that are ours to use constructively and abundantly. And Myrtle Fillmore, the other one of our co-founders, said, realize your marvelous power. Tell yourself, I am a child of God. I am empowered from within to live my life in great ways and to make great contributions to life. Now, I want to ask you to consider one story about eyeglasses. Again, to quote from this book, the definition of faith and the implied focus of each of our own consciousnesses differs to suit us individually. Although we share a paradigm in this room of unity, none of our consciousnesses are exactly alike. And just as that's the case, they say, just putting on someone else's glasses can be painful and disorienting, and we take them off quickly. No matter how good the glasses were or how much they cost, if they were created for someone else's eyes, they just don't help you see. Now, I can't give a talk without reference to my favorite television show. Will somebody out there just humor me and know that you've listened to me before?
We've listened to you before.
And what show is it?
I Love Lucy.
It's MASH. Give that girl a cigar. It's MASH. Because at the end of one of the episodes, Radar and Colonel Potter were just talking with each other, and they were going, I just can't really see very well these days. I feel kind of dizzy. Things feel kind of blurry. I'm having trouble reading things. And all of a sudden, they just stopped. And they each went, my eye doctor said you never take off your glasses with one hand because it could bend them, but they each took off their glasses with one hand and traded with each other. Because somehow their glasses had become mixed up. And then they are smiling because they could each see perfectly. And so I just want this example to remind you that faith will be different for each of us, and that we are faithing, which means that's a process, and that might be changing through our lives. It isn't just something that falls down from heaven on us. And I was thinking about one time when Donalyn and I were masterminding about something, and we were going, this unity jazz. Wouldn't it be easier just to go back to that old religion when Jesus did everything, or God did everything for us? Wouldn't that have been easier? But, that's not how it is now. So we are creating and acting out our faith as we discover it and deepen it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue Ellen. And now I have to follow that? Whew. Well, actually, the reason that I'm following that is because the first power is faith, the second power is strength, and strength builds on faith, because I can't have strength without faith. So my power today that I'm going to talk about is strength. And as Sue Ellen did, she said she Googled. Yes, I Googled, but I looked at what Webster defines as strength, and it's the quality or state of being physically strong, the capacity of an object to withstand a great force or pressure. They were taking no chances with the strength of the retaining wall. Our unity metaphysical definition of strength is the energy of God, the ability to endure, stay the course, and persevere. And I know that, when I think about strength, I think about being strong, all the guys that go to the gym and work out and they're like, muscle men, or being emotionally strong, being able to face everything, the staying the course and being persevere. But it's also, for me, as I reflected in preparing today, it's that spirituality strength. It's being spiritual in our strength and practicing each one of those every day. Developing our strength isn't easy. We can't, and we shouldn't do it without tension and strain. But in unity, they teach us to relax and let it come and let it become us. And Sue Ellen talked about taking that step of faith that Indiana Jones did, not seeing how was he going to get across that, and that's that trusting of the faith, and that helps us to become strong. As I was reflecting last week about my talk, I have a couple of stories that I want to share with you that kind of guided me. The Spirit gave me the message. I went to my favorite yoga class, and it was kind of all my monkey mind was running around in my head, and we got through with the yoga class, and at the end of the class they do what they call shavasana, and you are literally, it's corpse pose, and you are laying on the floor and you are quiet and still. Can you believe that I can do that? And relaxed and just being centered in the silence. And all of a sudden, I thought about strength, about that physical and that emotional strength. And I'm like, that's not what it's really all about for me right here in this class. It was about the community. It was about my fellowship. It was about that room of people that were like-minded. And that really gave me strength. I shared it with the teacher afterwards, and she reminded me that that was that community. I hope that you all have that community in your life, that those fellowship of people that when you're having a bad day, that you can pick up the phone and call them, and they can give you a couple of words of encouragement to be stronger, to share with you. The thing about following faith, I have faith in my community, and one of my favorite Bible verses is Hebrews 11, verse 1, and it's, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So we can build our strength on the substance of things that we hope for, but the evidence of those things not seen. I too have a book that I want to share. This is one of my daily readings, The Language of Letting Go. And when I was preparing, I'm like, oh, they've got to have something on strength. So I'm going to read that, and then I have another story to share behind this. So this is from February 23rd. We don't always have to be strong to be strong. Sometimes our strength is expressed in being vulnerable. Sometimes we need to fall apart to regroup and stay on track. We all have those days when we can't push any harder, when we can't hold back any self-doubt. We can't stop focusing on fear and cannot be strong. There are days when we can't focus on being responsible. Occasionally, we don't want to get out of our pajamas. Sometimes we cry in front of people. We expose our tiredness, our irritability, or our anger. Those days are okay. They're just okay. Part of taking care of ourselves means that we give ourselves permission to fall apart when we need to. We do not have to be the perpetual towers of strength. We are strong. We have proven that. Our strength will continue if we allow ourselves the courage to feel scared, weak, and vulnerable when we need to experience those feelings. And the little prayer after that is, today, God, help me to know that it's okay to allow myself to be human. Help me not to feel guilty or punish myself when I need to fall apart. So my story about that is that I have a very dear friend she's caring for her husband with cancer. And we were at book group and everybody was hugging her and saying, oh, you have to be strong. You have to be strong for him. And when it came my turn to hug her, I hugged her because I've been there. I hugged her and said, it's okay to fall apart. It's okay to cry. Because having that strength all the time, that's kind of a mask. And she needed to fall apart and she needed to let go. And that helps to make us stronger. So those were strong words for me. And again, I am also going to refer back to Charles Fillmore, one of our co-founders of Unity. And his affirmation on strength is, I am strong in my belief that God's presence is the source of my life. My steadfast determination to live as love, peace, and joy gives me a spiritual strength and balance. I am a tower of grace and strength. I have the strength to accomplish all that is mine to do. And now I'm going to turn it over to Tim.
Thank you both. That was very powerful messages. I appreciate that very much. My message is a little more brief, but hopefully the words are just as powerful. They're not my words, but I found them to be very powerful. First of all, talking about the 12 powers, I think it's important not only to know what they are, but what is their purpose. The 12 powers provide a system for growth. They provide a link to spirit through these 12 capabilities that we all possess, a link between our physical existence here in this place and the greater existence of our soul. We have the capability to use these powers here on earth to expand and grow our spirit and influence our existence and that of others around us in positive ways, to make our lives better and enrich our soul at the same time. These powers transcend the veil that lies between us and spirit to become unique gifts that are shared on both sides. I am here to speak today on the power of wisdom. Wisdom, the highest form of spiritual knowing, includes divine judgment, discrimination, intuition, and other faculties. Jesus always pointed to the importance of judging by standards of the higher self rather than the examples set in the world. Never did he react to any person or any situation with the expected response of human living. Always he acted and spoke from the light within himself, the light that enabled him to judge by spirit, methods to answer from divine insight into the motives of others, the potentiality of good, and the revelation of Christ within all of us. His judgment went far beyond the perception, knowledge, and judgment of even the most learned men of the day, because his faculty of knowing was developed by a conscious acquaintance with the source spirit and a desire to express the wisdom of that spirit. I wish I could remember to exemplify this all the time myself. I think we all feel that sometimes. The color of wisdom is blue. The center that is associated with it is the pit of the stomach and is closely allied with the solar plexus, the area behind the heart and stomach, and is sometimes referred to as the body brain. Unloving, critical thoughts react particularly on the wisdom center of the pit of the stomach. How often have you ever reacted by saying, I felt it in my stomach? On the other hand, When we learn to exercise the faculty of judgment with the inner illumination by spirit, we will automatically be expressing a greater degree of physical health, awareness, and love and appreciation for others. At some point, we have all felt that warmth in our heart. Affirmation is, if you would repeat after me, I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. My inner wisdom guides me to the right decisions. The best steps forward and the perfect way to bless others. All right, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Colleen, and I'm also one of the board members. I apologize in advance. I'm a little congested, so bear with me this morning. The power I'm going to speak to today is will. Unity defines will as the ability to choose, lead, and decide. And the affirmation is, I choose my good based on spiritual understanding. And one of the things I think is really cool about this power out of the full list of 12 is it's really the only one that in language we actually attach the word power to. So we often use the word willpower when we talk about this. And I think it's really a reflection of how we as humans just recognize that inherent power that we have in our will and our ability to choose, and that we really understand the effects we can have, great suffering or great joy. So I just thought that was really cool as I was reflecting on this power in particular. I have to say that this one scares me a little bit too, because if you really think about it and the freedom we have around where we put our energy and the choices we make, it comes with a lot of accountability. It means that we're responsible for the effects of how we use that energy and those choices. So a little bit like Spider-Man, right? Who gets the message, with great power comes great responsibility. I feel this one when I reflect on will in particular. But on the flip side of that, what's so beautiful to me about this one is it also means that we always have the opportunity to choose differently, and we always have the opportunity to change. And I find that really hopeful and exciting. So I'm going to share a quote by Henry David Thoreau, which I think really applies to this. And he says, I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor. And so as I was reflecting on this, I think one of the natural questions that comes up as we reflect on will in our own lives is, whose will are we doing? Are we doing our own will, maybe ego-driven, worried about ourselves? Are we doing the will of someone else, maybe a family member, a parent, a spouse, a child, a boss? And I think we all do those things at different times, but I think our mission here is to try to figure out what divine will is and how do we align ourselves to that. And we get this example from Jesus, who, when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane and knows he's about to be taken away to be crucified, he's agonizing over this. And in Luke 22:42, he says, Father, if it's your will, take this cup of suffering away from me. However, not my will, but your will must be done. And I feel like that's just really a powerful example. It's pretty extreme. Most of us, hopefully, are never in quite that scary of a situation. But what I think is really cool, too, is the verse after actually says, then a heavenly angel appeared to him and strengthened him. So I think it really ties into Chrissy's message around strength of sometimes when we make that decision to let go of what we want and align to that bigger plan, we end up getting strength that we didn't even know we had, or maybe we didn't even have until we met that moment. And so I think the question is, how do we know if we're aligning to divine will in our own lives? And I think that's a lifelong journey. So I'll just share a personal story about where I'm at in my journey. As many of you know, I am actually pregnant and expecting in October. Thank you. And so I'm very, very early on my journey to motherhood, but I have to say that I'm already learning a lot along the way. I had a picture of what motherhood would look like in my head from many years ago. I'm a little bit type A, and I like to have a plan and be organized. So many years ago, I had this picture of where I'd be in my life and what house I would have and what job I would have and exactly how it would all go. So sure enough, I've been executing against the plan and doing all the preparation. But the universe had a different plan. And so after a few months of trying and crying in the bathroom with a negative pregnancy test, I really got to a place where I realized, this plan I had was not working, and it felt really hard. I was angry. I was upset. I was worried, what if this wasn't going to happen for me at all? And so it landed me in a doctor's office looking for some answers. And I received a diagnosis that I had a type of hormonal condition, which helped explain why it was so difficult for me. And I'm really thankful for that, because after I got that message, it just kind of like slapped me in the face a little bit of, this isn't all under my control. And I realized I had a choice of how I could use my will. I could keep trying to force things. I could keep being angry about where I was at, or I could accept what the universe was giving me and repurpose some of that energy towards maybe something different I was supposed to be doing rather than preparing for motherhood. And so finally surrendered and opened up and said, okay, what else am I supposed to be doing if this isn't it? Well, a couple weeks later, I was home for the holidays and talking with my mom, and she was talking about how my brother with autism, she felt would really benefit from an emotional support animal. He loves dogs, but she didn't have the bandwidth to raise a puppy for him. They're super expensive to buy, so she just didn't really have a path forward to make that happen. And a couple weeks earlier, I probably would have heard that a little differently and been very focused against my timeline. But I really felt called to help, and I felt like I had this new space available to me, and I felt like this was one of the ways I could use it. So I offered to help raise a puppy and train her up, and then transition her to my brother so she could serve as his emotional support animal. So it all happened pretty quickly. A couple weeks later, we had a little foster puppy who we raised for 7 months. We actually just transitioned her back with my brother. And I certainly never had that in my timeline, but she was an absolute gift for us while we had her. Learned a lot from her, patience being one of them. But also for him, it's been really special now that the transition has happened to see him have that companion, and really his first close companion I think he's ever had in his life. So it's been just like really amazing to see how all that came together. Certainly not my plan, but something much more beautiful came out of it. And the universe is funny, where we had that puppy for a couple of weeks, and I actually found out that we had a baby coming. So there was a better timeline in mind. So I think that's one of many lessons I'm sure I have in terms of letting go of my own will and opening up to that divine will. But I just want to close on a quote that I found really powerful. And this comes from the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And he says, "The power to choose cannot be taken away or even given away. It can only be forgotten." And I just really encourage you all not to forget that you have this power. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Ashley. My power to share and talk about today is order. As you already may know, each of the 12 powers has their own color, an apostle, a month, and a location on the body. The power of order is the power to organize, sequence, and adjust. The month is September. The color is olive green. The apostle is James, the son of Alphaeus, and the location is at the navel. James represents the harmony and the balance available through centering our awareness. The navel is the center of life. It's the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, or the navel chakra, which acts as the body's energy powerhouse. When spinning properly, this chakra allows energy to flow, but if it becomes clogged or blocked, you may find yourself feeling powerless, stagnant, or quick to anger. In Chinese acupuncture, the navel is called the hara, not just an anatomical location, but is known as the center of the energy of our body, where we gain our core physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual health. I'd like to point out that order is not linear in nature. Nature works in curves like fractals or the golden ratio or the divine proportion. It's also associated with the Fibonacci sequence. I think this awareness tells us that we're always striving for order and that it is normal to take a side step or a back step, never losing sight of the goal of balancing our power. Just be aware that order can come in unexpected ways. Remember, the natural state of the universe is entropy. That's going from order to disorder. Buildings age and fall apart. The dirty dishes pile up. Stars age and explode. Now one could say, my life is balanced, in order, and all is well. And I say, is it? I'm a Libra, and I'm very aware that I'm constantly working on balancing. The actual balancing comes and goes, and I may stay balanced for long periods or short periods of time, depending on my emotional state of mind and what I'm dealing with. However, the struggle to make it so is never ending. Order may appear in ways that could, if you think about it linearly, not be balanced. So think about order in this way. Order is the intelligence of the universe expressed through each of us, linear or curved. So power for order is actually within each of us. Then comes forth happy feelings, which brings forth God ideas into our immediate environment. Like attracts like. Once we've put ourselves in tune with God ideas and are cooperating with divine principles, we find that we attract right relationships with others, satisfying and fulfilling activities, time for all the things we need to do, and right growth and development of all of our powers. Order is the outgrowth of our complete agreement and cooperation with spiritual law. Remember the initial reference that spiritual health is in the navel area. The process of spiritual health must be complete in mind, emotions, and actions. I'd like to paraphrase Reverend Bronte Colbert. I call upon divine order for balance in my daily journey. If feeling overwhelmed, I turn away from outer appearances. I trust that my good easily comes to me in divine timing. I see my body working in divine order, and I take time to appreciate nature. As I create a sense of order in myself, my home, my work, and my activities, I discover balance and peace. I claim divine order now, and so it is. Thanks for listening to me.
So the Wednesday Zoom group is taking a break and will resume on July 5th. Mark your calendar for Monday, July 17th and Saturday, August 19th for free concerts where a group of us from Unity will sit together. The July 17th concert will be at 7 p.m. at Battelle Park for the group PT and the Cruisers. And the August 19th concert will be at 7 p.m. at the Chris Wilson Pavilion for the South Bend Symphony. More details are coming. Chrissy is planning it. She always does a wonderful job with these events, so I really encourage you to mark your calendars. Our past Sunday live stream services are always available on our website or app. You may watch or listen to meditations or messages throughout the week or view quotes as a positive reminder. And now I will share our pre-offertory announcement. So it's now time for our offering. As a reminder, you may give a tithe by going to our website and clicking the yellow donate button or by using our app. There's also a basket in the back of the sanctuary where you may place your offering, or you can scan the QR code on the door as you leave the sanctuary too. So please join me in our offertory affirmation together. I am a joyful recipient of God's bountiful blessings, and with a grateful heart, I give freely in return. We thank you all, and we thank the Lord for the abundance in our world and for these gifts we both give and receive. And I will pass it over for our closing song.
Okay, so we'll all stand up and sing the closing song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me, let this be our moment now. With every step I take, let this be our solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Now we close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Now